Hey guys, I'm back. So I'm ready to get into this, get this out once and for all so y'all can leave me the hell alone. I mean, I enjoy the attention, but I don't enjoy the attention. So, first thing I need to do is start by saying I was very disappointed in everything that I saw and heard. But what I wasn't was surprised because I've been through a lot with this individual. And so I decided to, and if you came here for like bash, that's not going to happen. I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm just here to tell my truth, whether you like it or not, and I'm going to leave it at that. So to get started, I need to take my crown off, and I'm going to put on my fascinator because it seems like you guys like tea, so I'm here to give you some tea. Not too hot. Actually, I keep ice in my tea, so that's gonna be that. I'm sorry for popping my mouth, like I've had a long day. So I'm gonna start with by saying like I'm really disappointed in y'all because I just feel like, we complain about MAGA people and like no matter what Donald Trump does, like y'all just believe and think he say, and you can't convince them. Even if you show proof and well, what about when he did this and what about, and everybody still finds a way to kind of forget and say no, it's you guys and he's making America great. Well, black people, I need you to look at yourselves because it seems as if no amount of receipts, as we like to call it, is enough for you guys. And so I just decided to put my voice behind everything so you can kind of see my side, and you don't even have to agree with me, and I'm okay with that too. But this is what I'm gonna say. Oh, and by the way, I'm speaking to the women who have dealt with fuckboys and narcissists and misogynist and just all around toxic men that people didn't believe them. The first thing people want to say is, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Everybody's not crazy. So let's just start there. So we're going to get into some truths and we're going to get into some, I don't want to say lies because I'm trying to be nice, mistruths, okay? That's what we're going to do now. Let me fix my fascinator. Let me cut up my tea music. Okay, great. So some of the things he said was true. And we'll start from the beginning. The part that was true, well, first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So about me, I grew up in New York City. And at the time of meeting your fave, I had worked at about 5 financial institutions and one fashion company. I don't even know if they're still in existence, but DKNY. And I started out at Solomon Smith Barney. Well, actually, I started off at Travelers, which turned into Solomon Smith Barney's, which turned into Deutsche Asset Management, which turned into, I left there and then I went to JP Morgan Chase, and I worked there until I met him. But also on the side, because I'm from New York and I'm a little bit popping, I was also in a music group. Shakir Stewart, rest in peace, babe. He was the one that gave me and my girls our record deal. And I happened to be in New Jersey at the studio at the time when I met him. And I was coming through the Lincoln Tunnel, as he said, that's true, heading back to New York City, and he pulls me over. Well, he kept trying to pull me over and I wouldn't do it. So I'm gonna show you a bit picture. So this is me in the studio, y'all. This is the same night. This is my girl group. Don't judge me, we were young. This is this was our attempt at an album cover at one point. What is this? Oh, this is a video shoot we did. Like, it's a mess. But anyway, don't judge me. I'm just here to give you some facts, not for your judgment. So, I met him in the tunnel. He pulled me over. I'm from New York. It's late at night. I'm leaving the studio, so of course I gave him the finger. And, I drove through. By the time I got to the outside, he was there waiting, still blowing his horn for me to pull over. I refused. Went to the next light. He's still there. So I'm like, listen, what's up? And he proceeds to say, listen, why are you acting like that? Like, I'm just trying to invite you to my party. So I was like, okay, cool. Whatever. We exchanged information. I don't know what the party was about, but whatever. We went to the party. So the next day he called me. I was busy. The following day he called to invite me to a basketball game. So I was like, okay, cool. We had chatted a little bit and he seemed like a nice guy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And he was like, well, meet me at my house at XYZ time. And me personally, I was like, hell no, because like, no. So he's like, well, you can bring a friend if you don't feel comfortable. So I was like, okay, cool. So I brought my homegirl, Ebony. Hey, and we go to his house. So when I get there, he immediately starts getting ready to leave. So I'm like, do we have to go now? I think the game starts or whatever, whatever. And he was like, no, like I gotta go earlier because I gotta warm up. And I was like, oh. He's like, I play basketball. I want you to come watch me. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But because meeting him in the car, I didn't even know he was tall. So we're gonna start there. So fine, we went to the game. The game turned out good. Ebony went home and we went on our first date. And I'm gonna tell you where it was. Since y'all think I'm a gold digger, we went to Applebee's, bitch. Um, which was cool, like because being in New York, I had dated. I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all the whole dirt, like not just the good parts of me, but the bad parts of me too. So I had dated like drug dealers and different people like that, throughout the years. And New York guys are very swaggy and they want you to know like they're getting it. So I would go to like Mr. Chow's and Morton's. Like it was no big deal. One fish, two fish, New York, y'all know what that is. So that was my life. So I met this guy and he's like, no, I'm gonna take you to the spot I like. And it was Applebee's. And when I tell you, that kind of like put all my guards down, because then I realized like he was like just normal and wasn't trying to impress me. That whole impressing you stuff, trying to ball out, that's cute. But when you find somebody genuine who, just wants to be around you, like that's awesome. And so we went to Applebee's, had the best time, whatever. So now let me back up a little bit. Now, before Applebee's, before meeting him in the tunnel, before anything, I was dating this guy named Miguel. And that relationship wasn't going anywhere. We both knew it, but he was fun. I liked him. It is what it is. But I had came to a point where I was like, I don't even want to date this kind of man no more. And so we had broke off, but I was like, even though it was my decision, I was still sad because I guess I was just lonely probably. So I ordered this dog from Houston, this little, actually that's ironic. Anyway, I ordered this little dog from Houston named Dolce, and she was super cute. And so she came, and this was like right before I met him. And when she arrived, she was very ill. So guys, be careful with these dog breeders out here. So I rushed my dog to the hospital because I'm like, I just lost my man. I can't lose my dog. Like, this is bad. So I rushed him to the hospital, and they were like, she's very sick. She might die, whatever, whatever. So then I ended up meeting Steven. Things were great. And came time for Dolce to be released from the hospital. And the doctor was like, okay, Dolce's going to live. But the problem is, she has to be on this medicine. She has to take the medicine every, I think it was 3 or 4 hours. If not, like she will relapse and it won't be good. So I was like, well, I got to go back to work. So I called him. Well, he was calling, checking on me, whatever. And I was crying. He was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I have a dog and my dog is going to die. So I got to go to work and this and this and that. And he was like super cool about it. He was like, since you over here every day anyway, oh yeah, we just used to hang out. After that first date, like we never left each other's side. So he was like, well, since you're over here every day anyway, after work, just bring the dog over here. I'll take care of your dog, give him the medication. It is what it is. So fine. I was like, oh God, this is awesome. So Dolce was a 1 pound Yorkie, about this big. And I was like in love with her, like instantly. So anyway, I go to his house, pick up Dolce, go to his house, drop him off. That was the first night I had stayed over, and no, there was no sex up until this point because I don't play like that. So I dropped the dog off and I stayed the night, and then I got up the morning and I went to work. And throughout the day, he would call and tell me, yeah, Um, the dog is fine. I gave him the medicine. Da 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 da. At the time, he was living in this like 3 or 4 story townhouse in not Inglewood. Where was that? By the Gucci outlet in Jersey. And Matumbo lived there. It was a couple people, from the team that lived there. This was his first year in the league. Actually, not even a whole year. He started in January. So, and I met him probably in February. So it's like a month in. He don't know the city, So we're kind of like just two people that kind of like instantly bonded and kind of needed each other or whatever. So after work, I go over there and I walk in and I'm looking for my dog and I don't see her. So I'm like screaming like, oh my God, where's my dog? Where's my dog? And I like run upstairs and he's sitting there cool as cucumber and he's like, she's right there. Okay, guys, now this is what sealed the deal for me. I get there and I look for my dog. I'm thinking the worst. And I go to this, go look for her. And over in the corner, she's in his, we're in New York now, so he had Timberlands. My little 1-pound dog was fast asleep in his Timberland boot. If that don't melt your heart, I don't know, you must be made out of steel, or you don't like dogs. But that did it for me, and I was like, okay, yeah, this might be my husband. Because that was just like the sweetest gesture. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward because I'm just getting caught up in a whole bunch of stuff. But I noticed that if you guys don't have every single minute or detail, you find a way to make that a loophole or make it a, whatever. So that's why I'm giving you too much information, actually. Okay, so fine. So that kind of sealed the deal for me. So we stayed together, madly in love. Things were great. Like I said, he started with the Nets in January. I met him in February. And then, the season ends. And he ended up getting traded to San Antonio. So I'm still working. So I'm like, well, I guess this is the end, But he was like, no, we're going to make it work. I had an amazing job with this wonderful woman named Pamela Hendrickson. She was the head of all of lending and liquidity for JP Morgan Chase at the time, which was a huge deal because she was a woman and whatever. So I didn't want to give up my job because I just met this guy. Even though I was in love, I was like, I'm going to stay working. So for the first year, me and him dated long distance. So my boss, she was like dope as fuck. And she was like, I'll let you leave early every Friday. And then if you need to come in a little bit late on your return flight on Monday, that's cool too. She also told me I needed to get my Series 7's license so that I could become an analyst for her. Because at that time, I was only an executive assistant. Not only, but what I'm saying. She just saw my potential and she wanted to see me grow. So I studied. I traveled back and forth to San Antonio every week or every 2 weeks. And life was good. So now we get into my ratchetness. Even though I worked on Wall Street wearing business suits every day, apparently I was dressing too ratchet for San Antonio and they couldn't deal with me. So I have some, if you guys were really offended about that paperwork from 2000 and what was it, 4 or 5, wait till you see this. This is a calendar from San Antonio and look what date it says. You see that? 2001, 2002. I'm still in New York working. Still in kind of good condition, surprisingly. Click the link in my bio for these folders, by the way. Just kidding, I don't have a link. But anyway, let me show you how terribly I dressed in San Antonio and why they were so disgusted and mad with me. Okay. And once again, these are old pictures, so no judgment. So here we go. Look how badly I was dressing. I mean, boobs out. I mean, terrible, right? I could see why anybody would hate to have that on their team. But for you skeptics, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, we didn't get to see the bottom. Maybe she don't have pants on, or maybe the skirt is up to her cooch. Well, this is the same day, okay? Same dress. Same guy. Can you believe I had my knees out? Tacky, I know, right? But anyway, I digress. So we did that for like a year. season came, the season went. We had some rocky, bumpy things, throughout that time, but I just chalked it up to being in a relationship. It is what it is. We pushed through. So his last year in San Antonio, he just was like, you know what? I need you to come out here and we're going to have dinner. We need to talk. So I'm thinking, okay, like, I don't know what's going on, but excuse me, at that time, he ended up proposing to me. Got me a nice ring from the mall, girl. And it was so beautiful. And I was so happy. And it wasn't nothing, fly, but it was like perfect for what we were. Like, we were like no frills, no holds barred, like just pure love. So I was like, this is so nice. Everybody in San Antonio was so happy for us. Things were moving great, whatever. So I had to quit my job, unfortunately, because I loved my job and I loved my boss, which is a rarity. And we decided to move to San Antonio. I decided to move to San Antonio with him. Now, the thing about my move, I quit my job on August 13th. And then a month later, September 11th happened. And so in my mind, I was like, wow, this guy kind of saved my life, because like, had I not moved, like, I would still be in that building and you never know what could happen. So that was a huge deal for me. Like, I always believe like God puts you where you're supposed to be. And so I kind of took that as a sign that maybe it was right. So I stayed in San Antonio that whole year. I made some great friends there. We all loved each other. Life was good. He won a championship there. But there was that was when things like slightly started to change. Because like, if you're in San Antonio, like, all they have really is the Spurs. And like, the Spurs are like Barack, Oprah, Michelle, and Beyonce walking down the street at one time. Like, it's a huge deal. So, he went from being this simple boy that would, take a girl to Applebee's, to being like, this guy that was like sought after, and like, people, oh my God, like, it was a huge deal. And I'm not gonna lie, how can you be, humble in a room full of hoes? Thanks, Kanye, for that one. But it's hard to stay faithful in a room full of hoes. So it was trying times, and I just dealt with it. I went with the flow. So then it came time for negotiations, and nobody really was biting. Maybe it was my clothes, who knows? But word on the street was, he had like a little bit of a problem with other things, and he had a medical incident happen the summer before that kind of got back. Quite argumentative, and it's just, some real nigga shit. Like, it is what it is. Like, we all who we are, and I appreciate that about him. But everybody doesn't accept that. And so when it came time to negotiate, San Antonio was kind of like, nah, we're good, because at that time they had like the Tony Parkers and the Manu Ginobili's, and real humble guys from overseas. They don't ask for too much. They don't party. They're not drinking. They're not at the club. They're not getting reports or anything. So it was a better fit. So he couldn't find a job. So I think at that time, Gilbert Arenas had got like this huge contract or something, and they have the same agent. And he put the fillers out, but nobody bid except for Atlanta. And at that time, I was pregnant. Like, it's like, 2, 3, 4 years into it, and I was pregnant. And he kind of said to me, if I take this job with Atlanta, would you go with me? And I was like, you know what? I hate Atlanta. I don't hate it. I love it now, y'all. I'm just saying, if you have a man in the league, you don't want your man in Miami. You don't want your man in Atlanta. You don't want your man in LA. So I was like, you know what? We're about to have a baby. My home is wherever you are. So we moved to Atlanta. And then the real games began.